Hello, Professor Matthews and my fellow colleagues. My name is Alex Ramos-Jimenez, and today I will be presenting to you Mother Mary Harris Jones. Now, a little bit of background on Mother Mary is she was born in Ireland on August 1st, 1837, and she later died in Maryland on November 30th, 1930. Now, as a kid, she actually immigrated from Ireland before the potato famine to Canada, and then later immigrated to the States. Now, if you remember anything from our textbook materials about 19th and 20th century women, you know that mainly they were housewives. Mainly they were treated as just that. They they were not seen as more. And at this time, she was actually nicknamed the most dangerous woman in America, which I don't know about you, but if I was nicknamed the most dangerous woman in America, I would not feel okay about it. But I digress. She was also a teacher, a seamstress, a mother of four, which they unfortunately died due to the yellow fever epidemic, and that led her to wear black for the rest of her life. After her children died. But she was also a wife and a member of the Iron Molders Union and a self-proclaimed Hellraiser, which makes sense to her being the most dangerous woman in America at the time. So, who is she? What is her major role in history in general? Well, in 1877, she became a major voice for quote unquote the cause of the working people. She was known as that organizer. And she was involved in many strikes. Her first strike ever was the Great Railroad Strike, but she was involved in long strikes for these workers well into her 90s. She was involved in these strikes, which, if I was her, I would be laying in bed or a couch in my 90s. I would not be up fighting and in these strikes, but kudos and props to her. And in addition, she was a fiery orator and, as I mentioned, a fearless organizer for these mine workers during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Her heavy focus was fighting for this economic justice for these men and for these better rights of these mine workers. However, she also was able to organize for working class women, but despite her radicalism and everything that she did, she actually really saw women as just being mothers and being housewives, which kind of ties back to her Catholic heritage, but she, quote unquote, actually argued you don't need a vote to raise hell. And at the time, women had no voting rights. And she still raised hell. Which brings back to her being a self proclaimed hellraiser. Um, she just wanted to, get these rights for the mine workers. And although worked with working class women and organized for them, she still saw them as, you know, wanting to believe that the men should be paid well enough so that way the women can just devote themselves entirely to being mothers. Um, However, as I do close out, what is her lasting legacy in all of this? She's actually titled the most famous female labor activist of the 19th century, and she even wrote her own autobiography around 5-ish years before her death. And she's also largely responsible for the creation of what we know as the social security system, which is pretty fantastic if you ask me. Um, so that is the end of my presentation on the incredible Mother Mary Harris Jones. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.